Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on? How are you guys doing? Good evening. Salutations. Ohayo gozaimashite. Annyeonghaseyo. I know, I just like playing around on my podcast. But hey, welcome to another podcast for you guys, where basically I am just going to rant, and you guys can listen to the god awful sounds of my voice. So, welcome to Wednesday's podcast. I can't get enough of those little audio sounds. But anyways, to really get on topic, let's talk deprioritization. Because I speak about this way too much. And it's so baffling just how many people don't grasp the concept of it. This goes back to one of my videos that I did on YouTube, and feel free to actually go check that video out if you want to. And also, reference to a blog that I posted on Blogger, is unlimited, truly unlimited. Argument sakes, people proving points, what they believe in. Here's the thing. When is something going to be close to enough? Because in the world of mobile technology, one thing or even multiple things is never enough. But the reason why I'm saying this is because I am baffled by how so many people are still royally upset of deprioritization. They rant, they rave, they bitch and complain over and over again, and not realizing that the grass that they're grazing on is much greener than what it was before. In layman's terms, and in hindsight of everything, let's kind of look at how plans were back in the day. We didn't have a straight LTE plan. I call it that because all data plans, whether they are allotted amount of LTE or no limit on the LTE, they are all unlimited. See, everyone, takes what they perceive this to be and not really think and understand how the market is working. To the mobile market, to carriers out there, unlimited in their eyes and by definition is that your data is never turned off. Because if you think about it, if they wanted to limit your data, old price plans that were around let's for example say you paid $30 for 2.5 gigabytes of LTE. If it was limited and not unlimited, once you've exceeded 2.5 gigs, your data would be completely cut off. You wouldn't be able to surf the net, no YouTubing videos, nada. Not even downloading a picture message, because if you didn't know, multimedia messaging is sent through cellular data connectivity. So with that being said, if it was limited, your data would be cut at the 2.5 gig threshold. But it's not. Those plans would give you 2.5 gigabytes of LTE speeds. That's ranging from 8 megabits per second all the way up to 70, almost 100 megabits per second download speeds. And about roughly, let's say, 1 megabit per second to 50 megabits per second upload speeds. What happens is when you pass that 2.5 gigabyte threshold, the reason they consider it to be unlimited is because, yes, you are throttled down to 128 kilobits per second speed, which is 2G on CDMA known as 1XRTT. Now, before they started reducing to 128 kilobits per second, they used to throttle down to 256 kilobits per second, which was slightly marginally better than 128, obviously, but still slow. But to the mobile carriers, that is unlimited. Their definition of it being limited is to completely cut you off. Now, from the consumer standpoint, and it's because it's how advertising is, and you gotta look at it from a business aspect point of view, basically. Carriers are not going to make an advertisement that says, get 10 gigabytes of LTE, and then you'll be reduced to 128 kilobits per second 2G speeds unlimited. They're not going to say that. Who the heck is going to walk into a store and say, I want to spend up to $300 on a new smartphone, and I want that plan that gives me only 10 gigabytes of LTE, and then I will use 2G speeds if I exceed the allotted amount? No one is going to walk into a store and drop money for something like that. However, you can pack it in and get new subscribers and get new accounts open and get port overs if your advertisement says get 10 gigabytes of fast unlimited LTE. So you see how it's scrunched into that one phrase, and that to your mind, the consumer's mind, you're thinking unlimited LTE, unlimited fast speeds. And then in the fine print, it tells you get fast LTE speeds up to 10 gigabytes, then you are throttled to 2 gigabytes per second, or 2G speeds, 128 kilobits per second. It's in the fine print. Does it suck? Well, yeah, to the average consumer who consumes more than 10 gigabytes in a month, you're going to be reduced down to slow speeds. No periscoping, no YouTube Live, no Facebook Live, no Instagram Live if you'd like to stream, no watching videos, no Netflix, no Hulu. None of that stuff will work on 2G speeds. And that's the thing. That's how it used to be. Now let's look at deprioritization, because this is, like I said, this is what baffles me. Deprioritization does not mean the same as throttling. There are two different things. Throttling is when you exceed your allotted amount, you are slowed until your next bill cycle, till your plan starts over again. Deprioritizing is only done after you've exceeded between 20 to 25 gigabytes of data on your monthly plan. And if you exceed that amount, you are the first one to be slowed down if the network is congested. So if there are a lot of Boost Mobile customers, or a lot of Cricket customers, or Metro, or T-Mobile prepaid, or AT&T GoPhone, point being, if there's a lot of people that are from your subscribed carrier on at the same time using up LTE because you have exceeded over that threshold of 20 to 25 gigabytes, you are slowed down so they can continuously use the fast LTE speeds without it hindering their devices. And honestly, that is fair. Why wouldn't it be fair? If you used over 20 and they've only used 5 gigabytes, they should continue to get the same fast speeds because they've used a lot less. Yeah, it sounds weird that I'm backing them up on that one. But in the interest of fairness, that's how it goes. The person who has more should get less as the others continue to get more, and when they cross that threshold, they will get less. But it doesn't mean you're stuck on 2G speeds forever. It doesn't mean that you're stuck on it until the beginning of your next monthly cycle. You're just slowed down until the network is decongested. Once it's not being used in overdrive, well, then your speeds will go back up. Now, it doesn't mean that it's a perfect system. It doesn't mean that if you are deprioritized, the system automatically slows you down. Lots of things happen. Nothing in this world works 100% perfectly. And yes, you could be stuck on a slow speed. But call in. Call in to your mobile service provider and let them know, like, hey, how long is the network in this area going to be congested? Because I've been slowed down for a long time, and as your claim says, I should only be slowed down during times of congestion, and once it's decongested, my speed should return back to normal. I average about 10 to 50 megabits per second download, and I'm testing my speeds right now, and I'm only getting 3, maybe less megabits per second download. What stops people from actually just calling in? Okay, that's the thing. And I know certain carriers actually have a way to look at towers in the local area and figure out what's going on there. So it's not like, one particular brand has a system. They all have a system similar to each other in place so that they can all achieve the same types of things. So it's not a Sprint thing or an AT&T thing. All carriers have a way of looking at towers, seeing if they've been upgraded, seeing if there's congestion, seeing if there's network outages. They all have that tool. So if you are experiencing slow speeds that's never ending on an unlimited plan that says deprioritization during hours or times of congestion, and it has not returned to the speeds that it should be, and you know for a fact at 2 a.m. a lot of people are asleep, what's stopping you from calling in to get that rectified? Thing is, today and how mobile carrier plans are, deprioritization is 10 times, even 20 times better than throttling. Because at throttling, you're slowed, and they're not going to increase your speeds back until you pay your next month's bill and your allotted amount of data is reset. Whereas on deprioritization, it is only slowed down during network congestions. How many ways can this be spelled out? Now, for those people who are going to go to the nitty gritty and go to hang on every word and say, well, they promise unlimited, in the reality of things, like it or not, you are being given unlimited data. Because when you cross your threshold, mobile carriers are not disconnecting your device's ability to continuously get data. You just have to read the fine print to understand. Which sucks. I agree with most out there who would say, that's false advertisement, that's bad advertisement. It's advertisement nonetheless. Businesses are not out to help the world, they're out to help themselves. So you really got to look at it from a business standpoint and just realize this. In some tiny form or fashion, you're getting screwed. So just decide which company that screws you feels a little bit more comfortable than the other ones do. So that's it for this podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. And if you guys did, you guys can let me know by dropping me a like. If you're listening on YouTube, smash that like button to let me know you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to find me on Spreaker, obviously you guys will see a link in the description on YouTube. You guys can follow me on Spreaker. If you're on Spreaker and you find my podcast and you decide to follow me, I much appreciate it. As this is something new for me. It's a slow build, but I'm trying to build a following on Spreaker as well for my audio podcast sections. So with that, I want to say mahalo for listening. Aloha, and you guys will hear from me in the next one. Have a blessed evening. Sleep with angels. Good night.